Yay! Luckily, none of everything else mattered. So we're gonna be learning together how to use a sound mixer. And by learning together, I mean I know how to use one enough that it gets me through my daily job, which I don't work right now because of stuffs. It's hard to have AV tech for people when people can't be together in the current climate. Um, but I set up my nice camcorder for this part right here. I have my action cam with HDMI over there. It's using just the regular fisheye lens, which it's all right. It's gonna get replaced whenever I can actually get an Amazon order for some adhesive. If I turn blue sometimes, it's because I have a light there, which is a desk lamp with a warm LED bulb with some paper towel over it to soften the light. I couldn't find wax paper, and now that I found it, I'm just too lazy to throw away the paper towel. I have a video light here, which actually has a little diffusion sheet and everything like that. It's also color corrected to warm because my chair is yellow, my room is yellow, these lights are yellow, and the pot lights in my ceiling are also yellow. And then there's the beautiful sun in my window right there, which is, of course, a different color temperature, and sometimes it might make me blue. I threw a pillow in it to kind of block out most of the light, but if I turned blue sometimes, that would be why. Um, this is a mixer. I know, fun fact. It's specifically the Allen and Heath ZI-10. I like Allen and Heath. Allen and Heath is good stuff. Um, there are people who don't like them. I don't care. I like this one. You'll of brands that you see in the workplace, Allen and Heath is one of them. So, um, we're going to be using this to go over the basics of using a mixer. Um, Now, because I also use this as my sound card, because my computer doesn't have a sound card because it's a server and nobody needs sound when you have a server, um, things are going to be a little bit weird because I can't push it. If I have stuff coming into it to like sound is coming into it and out of it at the same time. So if I accidentally cause a loop, it will do a rip headphones, and I've already done that once at Launchpad, and I don't plan to do it again. I made sure that that's not going to be happening. So, um, yeah. The nice part about it is, even though this looks complicated, this one is nicely color coded. We have our shit. Uh, red. I'm gonna go with red. Um, I'm gonna go with blues and gray and yellow and orange and more red or green, one or the other. I don't. We're gonna ignore that. It's color coded for the non-colorblind people. Um, but yeah, as you can see, I got the USB. It has a nice USB out 4x4. We'll go over what that means, and then I have just RCA cables going to my speakers because I have some nice bookshelf speakers that are on the desk, which shouldn't be on the desk because of bass response reasons and a bunch of other stuff. But anyways, let's go over some basic stuff right now. So even though this looks complicated, um, if you learn one, you learn them all, except for digital boards. We're not going to go into that because I don't own one. I don't want to go through all that. The menus are always different, even in the same brand, so whatever. Um, the important thing to kind of go over right now is just one single channel strip. This is just this and this and this and this and this and this. This is literally all the exact same thing. So as soon as you know how to do one of these things, you can just copy and paste it to all the other ones. So we'll just start from the top. This is an XLR port. Um, it stands for something. X connect something rubberized. I don't know. I have props. I have props, guys. I half planned this. So this, is, for example, is an XLR cable. Um, let's show the camera. As you can see, it's 3 pins. There's 2 phases because it's balanced audio, and there's a ground. So the way that it works is that um, audio goes through both the pins, and then it cancels itself out at the end. So and that way it gets rid of noise. I think maybe I'm sure the internet can explain it better. The nice part is that it locks. See, locks, and they can go very long distances. Uh, you can go hundreds of feet because it's a balanced cable, and you can't do that with a regular RCA or aux cable because it's not balanced. There's 2 separate signals, so as soon as noise gets introduced in there, you can't do much. But this stuff is good. Um, these things use a Nutric clone connector, but Nutric is the bomb. And as soon as the patent on these expired, they made a better one. So as you can see, it's just a connector. This is just some prime cable stuff. But yeah, if you need more cable, you just connect more cables to each other. It's a novel concept. You need like 100 feet, and all you have is 50 feet. You can connect 250 feet together and make 100 feet. It's amazing. Um, in this case, I use this little short one to connect to my headset because the really stupid part about broadcast headsets, and you'll probably be like, well, Aries, why aren't you using a broadcast headset? Because it's more intimate. You don't have a big ass freaking red earmuffs and a microphone, well, where's the camera? Thingy, boom arm. It's nice, almost concealed. But as you can see, it's very, very short. If I plug this in, it doesn't reach. So I like to use that little short cable to extend the microphone when I use this headset. So that's the XLR port. This is the line. Oh, that's actually an insert. I never realized that. So we can go over that. Heck yeah. So this is a 1/4 inch. There we go. They look like that. This is a mono 1/4 inch plug. You'll see most of the time these are on guitars or instruments like that. They just carry the signal and they carry ground. So oftentimes, and the thing is, they get away with that because the signal level is very hot. So one of the things that we should go over is that this is XLRs generally are mic level, but they can be line level. These things are almost always line level. That's why you see that this says line insert, and this says line, and that says line. Actually, I can zoom in just so. Look at that line. The magic of a remote. Let's zoom in a little more. Not too much. Oh, no. Okay, there we go. So you can do that. These go to an RCA, which is the same thing, just a different connector. And with these, you could hook up like a game console or anything that uses RCA, TV player, whatever. These are the same thing. We have this style as well, which is this is tip ring. This is a tip ring sleeve. No, tip sleeve, tip ring sleeve. Yes, that's how these work. And this pretty much can be a balanced signal or it could be a stereo signal. So, oftentimes, if you find like an XLR to a quarter inch, it will be this. So that way it's a balanced signal. Or you'll find these on headphones because you have your left, right, and ground. Probably not in that order, but makes sense. I have a couple of these so I can use regular aux cables for like headphones, and I just kind of move them around as need be, depending on what I need them for. Um, so yeah, you have your mic level and your line level. There's also speaker level and stuff. Uh, that covers that. These are all mono channels. This is actually a stereo channel, as you can see, because it has 1, 2, and then this is also 1, 2. This stereo channel gives you a lot of control. This one, it also routes the computer. That's why it doesn't really have a lot of control. And this one is also digital only, like computer only. So we can go over the routing later. Then obviously your RCAs, which everyone's knows about. Let's go down here. So line and insert, right? That's what I wanted to go over. So when you have an insert channel, what it does is it uses one of the channels on this, like one of the signals here, to send audio out, and then it takes it back in. So when you start to get into like compressors and equalizers and all this fancy audio um, processing unit. Wow, that was a really weird way to say it. Processing units on a board, you can use an insert um, to send it out, and then it comes back in, and then you do everything as normal. Um, so the cool thing about this, though, is that you can use um, the insert channels as also direct outs, because if you just tie the two signals together in and out, then you just always have an out and it doesn't affect the rest of your mixer here. And I've actually done that for NASA events where I needed to get extra outputs for headphone mixes because I ran out of aux channels. And we'll get to the aux channels later. One of the things I should be able to do is actually mute myself to kind of prove what this will do. Hello? Okay, this one still works. Hello? Oh, okay. Hello? Okay, so don't know why that didn't do it, but that's okay. Oh, I know why it didn't do it. It's because of the fact that um, OBS is pulling it straight from here. It's not pulling anything past it, so that's why. Anyways, as you can see, the insert only applies to these first two. These ones don't have it, but it's a little portable board. What do you want out of it? So these are your gain knobs, and the gain is kind of like the first stage of volume control. Um, as you can see, if I take it all the way down, as I slowly start to bring it up, you'll be able to slowly hear me. And probably around here. Yeah. Okay. Around there. I have a noise reduction so I can kind of, it gets rid of the hum. So if it goes silent, that means it's back to where it was. So that's like your first volume control kind of dealio. This is where you get into the all important preamp part. There are preamps that end up being very noisy, meaning the louder you crank them up, the more kind of shh sound you get, the noise floor. This one's pretty clean. It has Allen He's GS preamps, fancy. Um, that's one of the ways that audio devices like to market themselves. Oh, I have Midas preamps, or I have Ghost preamps. Every brand kind of has their own science behind it. Um, and that's one of the ways to test the quality of audio interfaces is the quality of the preamp. How does the audio come through? Does it come through clean? Does it come through colored or distorted? Does it have a lot of noise coming through it? Um, very important aspects when you're dealing with audio. You don't want it to sound like shit. This one sounds pretty good. I like it. So that's the first kind of level of volume control. So the thing is as well, before I forget, is that line level is obviously louder than mic level. What's up, Dev? What's up? Um, so if this was a line level input, I would only need to be like there, maybe there, depends on it, because it's about 30 decibels difference between line and mic level, which considering decibels is a logarithmic scale, it goes like, well, hold on, where's the camera? It goes like, um, yeah, that's very different. And you kind of notice that when you swing these preamp kind of dials, and things kind of be like, oh, it's pretty quiet. Oh, it's kind of getting better, kind of getting better. Holy crap, it's loud. And that's you don't want the holy crap it's loud, but that's just how the logarithmic scale kind of works with these things. Um, let's continue going down the strip. So these are this board. You can plug instruments into it. Instruments are even higher level than line level, I think. Um, but you have your little guitar buttons here. These are your instruments. So if I wanted to plug a guitar straight in or a keyboard, yeah, one of those. They use these things, not that one. These ones, the mono ones. If I wanted to plug that straight in, you would click that, and that would bring down that instrument's volume level to something like it just go whoosh, whoosh, and then you can actually control the rest of it in here. These ones have a line pad, so if you're using a line level input like I normally do, I have to press these in for like a game console or something, and then that works. As you can see, this one doesn't have a line pad or an instrument or anything like that. Because it's stereo, it just assumes that you're going to be putting a line level input into there. So let's go down. We have our low cuts. Now, what does a low cut do? So basically, sound is a frequency, right? And it goes anywhere from like 0 hertz all the way to like 20,000 hertz. And most of the time, for speaking voice, you don't need the very low end. You don't need the frequencies that would go into a subwoofer for a voice most of the time. So what you would do is you would punch in low cut. Now every board has it a little bit differently. There are boards that cut off at 80 hertz, other ones cut off at 100, 120 hertz. Digital mixers, you get to let you choose what the cutoff is. Equalizers also let you choose. It's also known as a high pass filter because it passes the high frequencies pass through while the low ones get cut off. But yeah, if you're ever doing something and you have a microphone with speaking, those instantly get punched in because you don't need the super low end rumble. Actually, if I pull up the here it is. If I pull up the there we go. Oh no, it still exists. Window capture? Sure. Yay, PD Cinema. Apparently, I can't window capture OBS itself. That's really stupid. But what if I monitor capture? block everything else. This is clearly planned. This is gonna look like garbage. Hey, look at that. Um, so as you can see, I have uh, the low cut digitally here because this part of me speaking, not needed. Nobody needs it. You also have the opposite where you have a low pass where it cuts off the higher end. As you can see, there's nothing here, and if it pops up, I don't need to hear it. So, and then I have some regular kind of EQ here, which probably won't go over. Maybe we will. I don't know. I need a better system to show this. But yeah, as you can see, the low, I kind of cut it off here because I don't want that very low end-ish there. And because I have that opportunity, my voice isn't super bassy. I could make it super bassy, and you can see that it really lives right there now. But you're not going to actually hear that because that's not how my voice normally sounds. And I also cut it off there. So, anyways, um, back to the nicer setup that we have here. That's what your low cuts do. And now this part here, which is blue, I'm told, this is your equalizer. So you have three frequencies right here. You have your high, your mid, and your low. There are boards that will have a high of like a variable, I guess is the word, mid-range frequency, and then a low end. So this probably lives around like 100 something. This probably lives around like 8 or 4. The numbers always change. It's somewhere in the high, and then this is your mid. So if you know like a car stereo, change your bass, change your highs, and then you change your mids. Generally, for speaking voice, you want something like I set up kind of like right here, where the highs go up, the lows go or the highs go down, the lows go down. Maybe you bring up a bit of the mid. In a live scenario, you'd pretty much never bring. You always cut. So maybe you would kind of do that there, and that's how you would kind of deal with that. So that not that this actually changes anything. Yeah, see, it doesn't actually change anything because it's only grabbing from here when it goes into digitally. That's why I had the EQ and everything else as a filter. But this is how you'd kind of shape your audio. And then this is where we get into some of the routing. So this goes to your aux, which then goes to here, which I have set at 0. So that goes to your aux. We'll get to this in a second. This goes to your effects. I don't have any built-in effects on this mixer, but there are mixers that do have built-in effects like reverb and delays and whatever. This doesn't have that, but it has an output that you can route it to an external effects unit. Then you have your pan, which you can pan kind of left and right, depending. Maybe you're in a live scenario and you have a singer on your left and then you have a singer on your right, and you want them to be in stereo. You want the singer on the left to be only heard from the left speaker and that. For whatever effect that you want. Or sometimes you can have two microphones just kind of slightly off axis, like uno momento, por favor. Let's hope I don't trip on this very long cable. Aha. Actually, I'm gonna need this thing because more props. Can you tell I have a bunch of shit? Um, this has two microphones, see? One and two. Maybe you have it like right there. And then this kind of picks up that way, and then this kind of picks up that way. And you want to pan it left and right because it gives kind of a cooler sound. People often do that with like guitars and stuff. I don't deal with bands and music, so I don't do that. But it's maybe something you want to do. Um, put that prop right there. And then this is your, so those are its own volume controls. So as you can see, there's a 0. I don't know if you can see. Maybe I'll zoom in. Zoom. Yeah, you can see. So, oh, right there. There's a 0 and a 0. That's called the unity. Um, we'll get there in a second, but it's kind of like a stage of more volume control. Oh, let's haha. There we go. Much better. So if and then this is your actual main output, which goes to these two things right here, your left and your right, um, or these two. I to these two right here. And then this controls obviously the volume of each channel strip. So this is a microphone. This is a microphone. This is one Windows. This is like this. This is my normal desktop. Like this is the default Windows sound device, and then this one I use for like Discord and stuff. So it's like, oh, I want my music to be turned up to 11. Let's do that. Oh, Discord, I want to be quieter. We'll bring down the volume here, or vice versa, whatever. So that controls the volume of those channel strips. And then this is your headphone output. So your headphone, if you wanted to, in a live scenario, you have a bunch of things going on, but you're like, oh, I can't, I gotta figure out if this microphone's working, or I want to EQ it. You want to only isolate that. You would hit that button, and then only that channel strip or whatever else you've also punched in. Yeah, there we go. Whatever else you punched in gets routed to the headphone outputs. And that it's called like a PFL, oftentimes pre-fader level. It's also called solo and other stuff, but this pretty much routes it directly to your headphones, and then you can see your headphones kind of do that. We'll get there in a second. That's the whole channel strip. It's the same thing, just copy and paste it over multiple times. So actually, if I bring up, I have a picture that I took at NASA 2019, of all places, which we can use to showcase what I'm talking about. Haha. Oh, you don't get to see the mouse. Um, is there a way that I can show the mouse? No. But anyways, as you can see, there's a lot of channels here. But it's just the same thing, copy and pasted over and over again. You can see at the very top with those white knobs, you have your gain, and then you have all the other stuff, and the grays. Yes, the grays, because there's 4 of them, are your EQs. The blues are your aux outs, and then the white ones are FX or even more aux outs. And then you can enable those lit up square lights let you turn on and off actual channels. And then you have faders instead of knobs. Faders are obviously a lot nicer because you can slide them up gradually instead of kind of like turning little pots. But that's all it is. It's just the one thing, copy and paste it over a bajillion times. So that's kind of that. And then for this board here, there's specific things like this USB routing. So you can see there's the option of having M1, M2, M3, M4. So that would be one. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4 as audio devices in Windows, where you'd be like, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. You also have the option of M1, M2 aux effects and aux effects. So that's what I have it set up to, so I don't cause any feedback loops. And that's where you have 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's what gets sent to Windows. And then you have the option of 1, 2, left and right. So this board I like a lot specifically for this reason. It has a lot of flexibility in the fact that you can send it 4 separate channels, 4 mono or 2 stereo or a combination of whatever, uh, into your PC. And then it also does 4 outputs, which are these two right here. So like I said, I can have desktop audio on one of these, and then I can have Discord or anything else on the other. And that lets me control physically the volume levels that I'm listening to, which is very useful, especially when you're doing online restreams, which goes into a question Two Worlds asked about dealing with audio during online marathons. The quick answer is this is how I do it physically. There's also ways to do it digitally with voice meter and stuffs like that. And this board's also nice because it has a physical fader on its main mix output. So um, YouTube videos, I gotta like crank it to 0 to unity. Spotify is pretty loud because it's mastered properly, like music should be. So I bring it down so I don't blow my ears out. It's just the way it is. Here is monitor source. So these two RCAs, they're controlled. They can either be what I've routed into the headphones, or it can just be the left and right mix. I have it as the left and right mix right now. Jumping over to the headphones here, we have our own volume knob right here. Controls the volume. I almost never have it past like there because I like my hearing. And then it can either be your FX send, it can be your aux send, or it could be designated just for stereo in 3. And if none of them are punched out, then it's just whatever this is. And if none of these are punched in, it's just your main mix. So there's a lot of audio routing that can go on here. XLRs equal monitors. So if you wanted the monitors to be the headphone mix, then you would punch that in and that would do that. Whatever. 48 volts. So that is actually very important. 48 volts is phantom power. Microphones need power. Most microphones need power. Microphone like this does not require power because it is a dynamic microphone. But it also needs a lot of gain. This thing, not that one. That one, let's say. It needs a lot of gain because this thing operates at like minus 50 dB if you look at the spec sheet. So you need to put like 50 dB of gain so that whatever is 0 coming into the mic is 0 in here. That's where you get into people purchasing things like cloud lifters and other things so it boosts the level coming in, generally via phantom power, into a device like this, not this one because it only has an aux input. But you can get Tascams or Zooms that have XLRs, and then you would like plug the microphone into it. But because it only has so much gain, if you're generally when you're reaching the top end, like the loudest parts of preamps, they can get pretty noisy. And that's when you get into the whole situation of extra external preamps and cloud lifters and all this other stuff. Or you use condensers. I'm pretty sure this is a condenser, this little microphone here. This is a condenser microphone right there. Um, I could have used this headset. I like this headset a lot, but whatever. It has a. We'll get into the microphone capsules in a bit. Again, this one, it's very tiny, which is why I picked it. But then, so I have like two condenser microphones that need the phantom powers. But then a headset like this is dynamic. Again, it needs a lot of gain. Um, and different microphones for different purposes, obviously. With dynamics, you don't really deal with proximity effect. It's not as pronounced, I think, maybe. I'm not an audio guy. Frankly, I don't know why anybody trusts me to do this crap. Don't fire me. Work, please. I know enough to be dangerous with this stuff. And for some reason, I need to run a whole event. But yeah, dynamics versus condensers, that's a whole other topic. Basically, this does not require external power. This requires external power, just the way the microphones work. Then you also have a situation, however, where you have things like this. And this has its own microphone. See? Look at that. It also requires power, but it doesn't require 48 volts. So if I somehow directly connected this into this, which doesn't provide phantom power, only these XLRs provide phantom power because it works off the biasing of different Magic provides up to 48 volts. There's boards that provide less, whatever. The important thing is that it gives voltage, and I would fry this microphone, but it requires something called power plug-in power, which is up to 5 volts. So whenever you plug something like this into your computer or laptop, it actually provides a little bit of voltage to get a microphone like this working. This thing also provides plug-in power. It's in the settings here, and at some point I'll probably do a shootout with all these different headset microphones that I have, and I will have to use something like this because again, I don't have headphone or mic inputs on my computer or whatever. This is my sound card. This will take in the headset, and then it will spit it out with its line out right there, so I can put it into here, and then do all the stuffs here. So that's actually one of the reasons we had such a hard time with NASA 1, because we were stupid and didn't realize that lav microphones require power. And we were trying to, we rented lav mics from a local shop that work on the this style connector, which, you know, is just, we were like, oh, well, whatever, let's just adapt it. Where's the mic? Adapt it, you know, plug it in, and we'll get sound. No, we didn't get sound because there's no plug-in power, so these things won't work. And then the year after, we upgraded to... I have so much shit. Oh my god. It's like, somebody save me. Oh my god. That can go in the garbage. We upgraded to something like this. As you can see, it's a lav mic. It comes on this thing. Has the TRRS plug tip ring sleeve. That's a little bit different, actually. Focus. Come on. There we go. See, so it does has like left, right, ground microphone. It has the extra microphone because this thing's meant to plug into like phones and stuff. And then it gets that extra voltage, which it would work if we plugged it into here. And maybe that'll do a shoot as well. But these things actually worked, unlike the ones that we rented, because it has a battery compartment and you can turn it on. Um, and then we also dealt with the whole thing where the batteries died, and then nobody had sound during a run. And then we had to jank audio together, which I believe was Therio's run, that we janked the audio together. And it sounded like poop. But it worked at least, so, there's that going for it. But yeah, that was something that we didn't realize because I didn't work Pro AV. Nobody worked Pro AV. Our sound person um, didn't realize that either. So I eventually learned, and that's the important thing. Um, so yeah, there's that 48 volts phantom power, interchangeable. And that pretty much, oh, and then we have our VU meters here, which if I start playing some non-copyrighted music here, you can see I have my speakers muted, so that's why none of the music is actually coming through. You can see that they come up, and they show you the levels of things. Oh. No. Okay, you can see it. I can see it when it's super small. It goes from like minus whatever S, which is infinity. Sorry, it's a weird way to do infinity. S, whatever. My head's probably blocking the camera. And then minus 18, minus 12, minus 6, 0, 6, 12 peaking. And if you're in the peaking, that's bad. Your sound is gonna be like because everything will be distorted. It's like the volume meters, no BS. Same stuffs. So, so yeah, that's that right there. And we can zoom out again. Yeah, sure. That'll work. So that's kind of like the basics of sorry, I had a message and the light was bothering me. So that's like the basics of using a mixing board right there. When you get into the bigger boards, it's again the same thing except larger. Now there is a couple things to keep in mind though when you have a your sources, and that is something called gain staging. So your output to your speakers, that NASA setup was still better than having to rely on a couple dollar store USB sound cards for the entire setup. To boli, kolego. To bardzo boli. Why would you do that? Don't do that. Please, no. But, I mean, at one point for NASA, we just had like a big Yeti, Blue Yeti microphone just plopped in the room, and that literally picked up the whole room because microphone patterns and gaining and stuff like that, which maybe we'll get to in a second. But gain staging. So if this is hooked up to output, let's say your speakers, you're at an event, venue, whatever, you are tasked with doing sound. These are going to your speakers. This is at 0. You always keep it at 0. There is no ands or buts. You keep this at 0 because that's as loud as your. This is like your master volume. If you need to like cut everything in the room, well, 0. Now nothing gets through. And or maybe like something's a little bit, you just need to bring everything down a little bit, like, because this controls everything. So this is 0. 0, you can see it has a nice graphic there, so keep it there. I feel good. um, Keep it there. You'll notice that all these, like I pointed out before, all these things have 0 on them for unity. You keep shit there, except for when you don't. Okay. So if I were to set up a microphone in a live environment, okay, this stays at 0. This is my microphone here, okay. This would go to 0, okay. Okay, I muted my speakers. I'm like, oh crap, am I going to feedback? No, I'm not going to feedback. But now you can actually see um, the VU meters here, which is glorious. But I would keep that at 0, okay? And then this is my gain, so I'll do it on this one here, so that way I don't mute myself while I'm talking. It's at 0, and then I would just start talking in a normal voice. This is where you get to be the sound guy and go like, or dudette, girl, whatever. You get to be like, check, check, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, tss, tss, ah, boo, ba, boo, blah, 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 blah. Just say whatever the fuck you want. And you would bring this up until the point where you get feedback, where it'd be like, whoom, and then you bring it back a little bit. That is as loud as your microphone is going to be in that environment until it isn't. Because now you're going to go down to the EQ here, and you're going to be like, okay, well, I'm going to take a little bit of the low off because it's a voice, like it's speaking voice. I'm going to take a little bit of the high off because it's speaking voice. You know what? Maybe I'll take a little bit of the mid off because that's more than likely where the speakers were feedbacking at. And now you can bring it up a little bit more, and hopefully it'll be like that. If you have a fancier mixer, you'll be able to pick out which frequency you'll bring down, because if you have a phone, you can pull up apps like RTA Analyzer. Oh, I did it upside down to the camera. And I always use this with me at work because when I have feedback, there will be the one kind of like, I can't do a high enough pitch, and that probably sounded really annoying, so I apologize. But you'll be able to see the one frequency band that kind of creeps up. And if I see that it's like, oh, it's like in between 1 and 2K, I'll like go to my board and I'll set it between there because there'll be 2 faders. So imagine, or knobs. So imagine like this one, you pick the frequency, and then so I'm like, okay, it's around there, and then I'll bring that down, and now I can like bring this back up, and then it's no longer feedbacking. And that is called like leveling out the room. You always do that in a live scenario. It is a pet peeve when events have feedback because somebody did not level out the room. And the reason you do that is because you don't get feedback when you have to push stuff louder. So it's like you've reached the ceiling, and now you've punched a hole in the ceiling so you can go higher if you have to go higher. Because sometimes you have people who like talk like this, and the people in the room are like, I can't hear them. And you're like, maybe they could actually speak up. And instead the person's just like, yeah, so this is the PowerPoint. This is our sales. Really annoying. But if you're not in a live scenario, none of that matters because you're never going to feedback. I mean, like live output scenarios. So in this case here, I've disabled this because I've muted my 2 speakers. I can crank the gain all I want on my microphones, and I'm fine. And I actually did that for NASA 3. NASA 3, where you can pull up the Zathura run, and Olo Illy literally just kind of talks like that the whole time. But I was able to crank that gain on the microphone, and you can hear Olo speak perfectly fine, and then everyone else in the room's like, what are you saying? That's the magic. But as soon as you bring in speakers, you can't do that anymore because the way that you get feedback is the microphone can hear itself through the speakers. I actually caused feedback just by having headphones on with this microphone because like very close proximity. So that's kind of like your gain staging there. Unity, bring that up. That's as loud as it goes. And then when you have to bring things quieter, you can, bring them down, the volume, do a little bit of a mix here. Oh, this is my music. I'll bring that up now. Bring the voice down. Oh, I got like two microphones. And I'm in a live scenario. I got like multiple people talking, and it's kind of hard. Things are feedbacking. This is where you actually have to mix. You're gonna have your microphone one, your microphone two. Okay, that person's talking. I'll bring that one down. Okay, now I'll switch it up. Okay, now I'll switch it up and switch it up. It's a lot easier with faders. I hate little knobs for that. But faders, you can just go do the shuffle, do the shuffle. Um, so yeah, that's gain staging right there. Um, and then we get into weird scenarios like with this mixer here, where actually I can show off gain staging. Hold on. So I have it set to aux FX, and I did this because I was gonna do this and I forgot I'm gonna do it. Now I'm gonna do it. Tell I've planned a lot. Aux is at unity. It's at 0. Okay. And that's my aux master. Okay. I have my aux actually set along with my effects. The effects doesn't have a separate master. It's just it's there. So this was supposed to be left and right, and I didn't want to feedback myself, so it's now aux FX. But anyways, I might actually change this to be monoed out. The camera's blocking my TV. There we go. It's mono. Okay. So I have a microphone here. Okay. Actually, let's set up a second microphone to kind of showcase mixing here. Can you tell that I'm out of desk space doing this right now? It's very lovely. Okay, so we have our stuff plugged in, okay? I'm gonna bring the kind of volume down here on this stuff because it doesn't affect the microphone in the computer. So aux effects, right? That's on 0. We're gonna deal only with this microphone here right now. Things might get a little bit weird. We're gonna deal with that. So now we're gonna bring up aux to 0. There's no sound. Oh wait, no, there is like a tiny bit of sound. I can see it come up, and then we'll just be like, hey, now there's multiple sounds, and this sounds awful. We're gonna mute that there. This is very quiet. But now I'm going to bring up the gain slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly. There's no processing on here. Slowly. Okay, so this is about where the microphone is supposed to live according to OBS's meters. As you can see, I added a lot of gain. Like a lot. This is maxed out. I cannot turn it anymore. Okay. And if I have it around here, this is pretty good. So yeah, as you can see, this controls the levels going into here. If I need louder, I can bring it up louder. I think I've put a limiter on here. I don't know. And then I have the aux master. So if I had multiple mics, multiple sources coming through, I can bring down the aux master. Nothing there. So that's kind of like gain staging at work right there. As you can see, there's a lot of gain that I had to put on this microphone. So let's also get into... I have no idea how this sounds, by the way. This is completely unprocessed. Probably lots of plosives. There we go. No plosives. So let's go over some microphone stuff. This, well, let's switch my microphones. This is an omnidirectional capsule. What do I mean by omnidirectional capsule? Imagine like a sphere, okay? It's just like, that is this microphone. It captures it equally in a circle. These, unfortunately, sound the best for voice because they don't really get knocked around by proximity effect and all these other things, and they sound generally really nice. The problem is, because it captures sound all around, the big ass fans in my computer here are getting picked up. The fans in this server here that the Super Nintendo is sitting on is getting picked up. Everything's getting picked up. So in live scenarios, you don't really like omni microphones because it doesn't matter how far away your speakers are or anything else. At some point, it will pick up and you get feedback, and it's like playing hard mode. Not to say that it doesn't happen in theater. These things are amazing, but in a theater you also have people like mixing line by line and everything else, and these microphones live like right there on the corner of the mouth, and it's like invisible, or they're in a wig at the very top right there. Everything is super scrunched close together, so that way it doesn't hear anything else. It doesn't. You don't have to open up the capsule. Like the more gain you put on it, the more obviously you'll be able to hear. So it's everything's super close as possible to make sure that it doesn't pick up anything else. But whenever you hear feedback, that's because the microphone basically is so loud through the PA system that it hears itself, and then it just constantly loops through, and then you get whoom. So we don't like that for Omni. Now, conversely, if I switch over to this microphone, it's a cardioid microphone. What does that entail? It means that it picks up straight, to the sides not so much, and at the back not so much. Sometimes they have a diagram on these things. This doesn't. But yeah, so this microphone, it picks up great in front of it, kind of all right to the sides, and really crappy to the back. So in a live scenario, that's perfect because it's not going to pick up anything from there, and it kind of like, it's not going to really pick up things from the side. And we can kind of showcase that right now if I mute this current headset microphone. I bring our mic back here. So as you can see, it's picking up my voice perfectly fine, and then I start to move to the side, and it's not really picking up. Probably sound like I'm a bajillion miles away. And then I move back to the front, and oh my god, you can hear me again. And then I kind of move to the side, and now I'm gonna be like at the butt of the mic, and it doesn't sound great. And this, oftentimes when people have like side address microphones, where the microphone capsule is actually facing the side, but people talk into the top of it, and then it sounds like poop, because it's a cardioid microphone, but it's side address. So that's the cardioid kind of pickup pattern. And then you have a hypercardioid, which these things actually are. And it's cardioid, it's like even more directional. That's why whenever you see sports broadcasting, or a great example actually is SGDQ events, where you see the Power Up Audio guys run to the runners and they fix the mic, because those headsets are hypercardioid, meaning if it's even more important that you get the microphone in the correct position, or you're gonna sound like that, and it's not gonna be great. They sound a little bit better, but they also have a butt. If you look at can I just want to do a desktop capture. No, no, something. Hey, okay. Oh, I don't even know what I did. This isn't gonna work. Oh wait, no, I can do, aha. So, you have, omnidirectional. That's what I was talking about. Bidirectional. Subcardioid, cardioid, hypercardioid, supercardioid, shotgun. So yeah, hypercardioid. See, it has the butt, but it's more directional than the cardioid. There we go. Okay. So, yeah, that's kind of microphones right there. I'm kind of an idiot, and my desktop is right there. So the fans are very much picked up, and when I have a hypercardioid or a cardioid microphone, um, generally it's on this side, which means that it picks that up instead of having the computer on that side. Or I could put the microphone on this side and then the computer would be at the butt, which doesn't really get picked up, and then it'd be fine. I'm also using an omnidirectional microphone right now, and it picks up everything. But I got some processing on here that kind of removes the fan sound. Generally, you don't want ambient sound, but in this case, it's kind of needed. Um, so that kind of goes over the basics of using a board. Again, uh, everything gets copy pasted when it's a bigger board. There were 2 questions that were asked on Discords and Twitter. Um, yeah, 2 Worlds asks, how do you handle switching audio feeds around on the fly and fixing things to be the most balanced? So, um, to answer that question, with dealing with multiple audio feeds, this is why I love having this mixer, because I have audio device 1 and audio device 2. So on Windows, there are literally 2 different audio devices that I have control over. Again, the master kind of fader right there for my overall level. I'm using headphones as controls. This is an extra volume on top of that, just for headphones. Um, and then if I am balancing audio for people and I'm dealing with the live stream and I have a person who I'm prepping, I want to be able to hear kind of both quickly. Um, this is my desktop. This would be the runner. I would set VLC to output to this one only, and then I can kind of control. I would be like, boom, bring that down. Okay, I can hear that. Okay, or I would maybe just keep it in the background. Like, okay, yeah, I hear that. I hear that. Okay, cool. And then I would, bring that up, close it out, whatever. There's separate audio feeds. Um, you don't balance audio on headphones. I went over that in my last stream / video. but nobody, unless the circumstance calls for it, where you cannot have bookshelf speakers or any speakers for that matter, um, you do your main mixing on speakers because headphones um, listen to your favorite song off a nice sound system or in your car. Cars generally have nicer sound systems. Um, Listen to your favorite song there. Kind of get used to the fact, okay, there's sounds going on here and there, blah 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 blah, and then listen to it on headphones at a reasonable volume. And you'll notice that all of a sudden there's a lot of stuff in the background that you might have never noticed before. Why is that? Because when you have speakers super close to your ear, um, sound is frequencies, okay? So you have like bigger waves and then you have like super smaller waves. And obviously, waves kind of travel differently. So you hear things differently um, due to distances and everything else. That's why when there is some dude in their Honda Civic with a subwoofer, you hear that like a block away because those bass notes frequencies, they're boom, 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 and they travel very far because they're super low. But you don't hear the rest of the song until they roll up, and that's kind of why um, sound travels differently. Most people, like if you're mixing so people can just tune in and watch, you are better off mixing with that because if you mix only on headphones, you have the problem where people talk at a reasonable level, but the gain volume was too loud in your headphones. So you brought it down, except now nobody with regular bookshelf speakers can really hear that music. And that is a problem that it is like one of my biggest pet peeves with events is when the game audio is too low. So mix on speakers. I don't even care if they're shitty speakers. Mix on speakers. This oftentimes you have to mute your microphone in Discord and move to typing only, or do the whole mute unmute truffle shuffle. Deafen your headphones in Discord. Only listen to them in your VLC viewer or whatnot, so you can get a thing. And that's the nice part too. Obviously, if you deafen yourself in Discord, you've also muted yourself. But if Discord is this volume knob, I can just bring it down. Now, now I can't hear the actual stuff from the Discord program, but I'm still talking in Discord, and I can hear whatever desktop audio I'm listening to right now, which happens to be the feed that I'm prepping up for the stream. And then I can hear myself talk in their stream. I can hear them talk in their stream, and I can hear their game audio from their stream. And in my little setup here, I can then balance the audio. Like, oh, you got to bring up the Discord volume. Oh, you need to bring up the game audio. Oh, you need to bring your. Generally, people have their microphones too low. I don't know how people get around this. Like, OBS has colored volume meters at this point. There's a specific sweet spots there that's in the green. I'm fairly certain it's green because I'm told that everything before that is yellow. Your voice is supposed to live in that section of OBS. What are you doing if it's not in that section of OBS? You need to bring the levels up of your microphone. You need to add gain in OBS. If it's too quiet, something. Your voice should be living in that green section. And then the game audio should be underneath that, like right underneath it. Generally, that's how it generally ends up looking like in the volume meters. Is there anything of that question that I'm forgetting? And fixing things to be most balanced. Yep. Okay, so that hopefully that answers your question. Two worlds. If you watch this, um, and if it doesn't, I can explain better as soon as you let me know what parts you didn't understand. And there was another question on the Twitter. Uh, bu- 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 bum. Lurk asks, what's the best preset to use with the new NVENC encoder? Um, Very good question. So I got to actually play around with NVENC during ICA because I purchased a Dell Optiplex 9020 that has a i7 4770K, whatever. It has an i7 in it. And then I threw my older NVIDIA 1050 into it because it has the previous generation of NVENC. And the whole stream was encoded over GPU. And high, it has a couple options, like it has max quality, performance, all that garbo. Um, Obviously, the higher resolutions and bit rates and stuff, you're gonna be coming down from like max quality and all that stuff. But for this 1080p stream, I just cranked it to max quality, and then I also did I left it on main because there's high, main, and baseline. When I had it on high, it would encoder overload, so clearly it's trying to do too much at once for a steady 60 frames a second. But main was fine. And the one thing I noticed was I set NVENC to be CBR 8000 because that's a pretty good place for a 1080p 60 stream to live, even though most of the runners probably don't even stream at that high of a quality. But nonetheless, that's a good place for that resolution to live, bitrate wise. And it was doing such a good job compressing, it wouldn't really get past 6,000 kilobits a second. And you'll notice this on when you stream, when there's like nothing going on, you're just like on your intermission screen, your bitrate can be set to like 5,000 or 6,000, but it's not there because there's only so much information you can cram into like a pure black screen or a video frame that has almost nothing in it. After a certain point, there's literally no more information you could squeeze into there. All the color values and all the detail and everything else is there. But in this case, it decided instead of 8,000 to hover around 6-ish thousand, and it would vary depending on what was happening on the screen. So I thought that was pretty neat. I probably could have bumped that down, and it would have brought it all back up. But the less bitrate to Twitch means more people can watch it easier. So um, I like max quality. I'm all about that quality. That's why this stream looks super amazing and tons of production value. But yeah, that's all the questions that were asked prior when I asked for questions forever ago. I don't know if anybody watching has any questions right now, if they want to ask. We'll give that a little bit to see if anybody has any questions. So I've been live for over an hour, so that's cool. Cool. Check the social medias here. Well, I guess nobody has any more questions, which means that I'm done, which is pretty awesome. I somehow got through this. So next time somebody wants to be like, oh, I'll do audio for NASA, you can watch this video and then continue to still ask me a bajillion questions. But that's okay. at one point, Lyric literally moved every single knob on the mixer to try to fix things, and he got it working. Um, kind of I forgot to fix something afterwards because there was a knob left where it wasn't supposed to be, so my beautiful separated tracks had some bleed through them. But nonetheless, you won't kill things. You might cause feedback, but hopefully you don't, because you'll actually like use the headphone options to listen to shit and kind of EQ things as you go. Um, I guess the next video I'll do a shootout of all the microphones that I have headset wise. I'll show. I'm actually curious if this like $12 American Pile Pro headset microphone sounds the same, better, or worse than that SteelSeries Siberia headset that I own and haven't used in forever. Bought it years ago when I first started to stream speedrun stuff because I was like, oh, headset, gaming headset. Everyone on Twitch uses gaming headsets. And I mean, they're all right headphones, and the microphone was always super quiet. But then now I have like actual broadcast Sennheiser headsets, and this what I would essentially call disposable headset. And I have like a mid-range Shure headset, so it'll be interesting to kind of shoot out the 4 different headsets and see how they sound. And then seeing if we can improve the sound. Like this sounds pretty reasonable to me, this Pile Pro microphone, but I've also, well, I did the noise removal for the fan, so we'll ignore that step. Compressed it, obviously. That'll be an interesting episode. Explain something that I don't really understand but use every day. Um, did some EQ, as you saw, to kind of shape it to make it sound better. Um, so, yeah. I'm now going to have a cup of coffee because I barely sleep now. Thanks for watching. This will be uploaded to YouTube later, and I'll see you guys next time.